Hello everyone, it's Eugenia from Art Meltemi, and today we're going to be making the two gnome bookmarks matching with the previous Christmas card we've made. I'm going to tag it underneath in the description so you can go and watch that video if you're interested. I'm going to be using my homemade palette from the lid of a feta cheese tub of my Phoenix watercolor set, and we're ready to go. I have already masked the bookmarks and the moons with two little circles of masking tape, and have re-wetted and reactivated my colors. And now I started with the background. First I put clear water on the sky, and then I start dropping some pigment, some purple, some cobalt, ultramarine, and Payne's gray because it is night. So I'm going to create a dark night feeling. And I make sure that I have enough water so the pigment will travel and settle the way that it feels like today. Because as we all know, the watercolor pigments have its own mind and settles differently every single time, and that is the magic of the watercolor. And then once I'm happy with how much color I have on the sky, I will let it set and dry, and I'm working in the meantime on the snow, the foreground on the left hand side gnome. And then once I'm happy with that too, then I'm moving on to the other gnome and the hats. For this one, I decided to make it blue, purpley blue, and the other one I will make it red. For the purple and blue, I'm using some cobalt, ultramarine, purple, and a touch of Payne's gray in my mix, so I create that really intense blue. I'll cover all the hat with pigment, and then I start once I let it set a bit, I start putting a few darker tones where the shadows will be. And of course, I followed up with the outfit and the feet, the shoes. They will be the same color for today. Once I have all my darks there, and then I will try to lift a little bit color for my mid-tone on the hat. So just before it dries up, with a thirsty brush, I go and I remove some pigment. And if it doesn't come off a lot with my brush, then I just dab with my clean sponge, so that will lift a bit more. These colors that I'm using, the Phoenix, they are reactivating very fast and they're lifting very easily. Very forgiving set. I really like them. They're excellent for beginners. And I will let it dry. In the meantime, I'll go and I work on the other hat. I will make it red. I'll use the alizarin crimson, red, and a touch of purple. When I want to put darker shades, I'll add a little bit Payne's gray, just a touch, and then I do the same thing that I did on the other hat. Before it dries completely, I go in with my thirsty brush and I lift a little bit color to create some mid tones. Later on, when it's dried up, I will come in and will add a little bit more darker shades wherever it needs it, and I will add also some highlights with some gouache. So for the moment, by the looks of it, I'm putting some dark tones, and I'm trying to lift a little bit extra pigment from the mid-tone on the hat. Just put a little bit water. These paints are reactivating quickly, and I'll dab with my clean sponge, and that's it. It's creating nice lighter areas. So I'm not sure if I mentioned any earlier. The sketch, I have scanned it and I've made a PDF with a sketch for these bookmarks, and I have attached it on the description if you're interested to paint along and you don't feel like doing the drawing by yourself, which I do recommend. It's fun. Doesn't matter if we make some mistakes. It's always good to try to sketch. It helps us. The next time will be faster. So yeah, but if you don't feel like today to try yourself, you can download it and print it and start making the bookmarks and paint with me along. Now I'm doing the skin tone. Well, on this bookmarks, I've made a mistake. I did the drawing with a water soluble graphite pencil, which means that I should attach water on the line of the graphite. It activates and smudges, becomes gray. Now, for some areas like the snow or the beards or even the wall, it's helpful. A little bit gray, I just smudge it and creates the texture that I want to. But for the skin, it was a little bit of a disaster because every time I was putting the color, it was smudging and I was ending up with a dirty gray skin tone. So I had to activate it, lift it with my sponge, and a couple of times till the graphite was removed, and then add my skin tone. Now I'm working on the on the wall, as I said. I didn't add any pigment here. I just smudged the graphite and I done a little bit dabbing with a sponge, and that's all for the wall. And I'm doing the candy cane. I'm using alizarin crimson and leave some white areas as they are. Working on also on the present. I decided to make it blue with the red ribbon. Obviously I did the brown for the window. I just mixed up all the browns that I had on my palette, some sienna, burnt ombre, a bit of ochre, and I came up with this brown, which I like. And then later on I will come in with gouache and I will put some snow on the glass. Now I'm doing the leaves of the holly. Make sure that they look prickly, but they're not even. They need to be very uneven and organic to have that sense that it's natural leaves. I won't do too many, just a few there, because they're not very important. The important is the gnome. And then I'm going on the first gnome, and I'm making it the lantern. I make sure that I have a little bit purple on the glass, and I'll just use Payne's Grey for the lantern. I remove the masking from the moons, and I just put a little bit pigment there, a little bit purple, and a little bit blue, a little bit Payne's Grey. put the colors they use basically on the sky, but it still looks them like a moon. It's like it's not blending in completely. Then I went and I put some I used some gouache straight from the tube. So I'm working on dry on dry right now. And I put the snow on the glass of the window, and on the hat, and I'm doing the other hat, which I think I made a little bit of mess there, a bit too much gouache, so I had to let it dry a little bit and put a little bit more of my blues for the hat. And the last bit, I decided to put some branches, some twigs of a tree in front of the moons, just not to be completely bare on that area, just to add a little bit of interest. You don't have to, you can keep them without the branches, but I always like to put branches in front of the moon. I don't know why. And if you decide to put the branches, make sure that they're thin, they're very irregular and organic, that they have that they move. There is a movement there. Nothing straight, obviously, and they're going all the different directions. Some of them thicker, some are thinner, some are lighter, some are darker. Then at the end, obviously, my initials are as per usual. No matter that it's bookmarks, I always like to put my initials because I made them. Yeah, I like them. And now it's time for unmasking. I took out the first kind of masking. It is to hold my paper down and not to buckle as much. And then the masking to keep the edges clear. I'm very lucky today, it's all clean. I don't have to use gouache to cover any blooms. And yeah, there we are. We finished with our bookmarks. I'm very happy with them. Here is with the matching gnomes. If you like this video, don't forget to like it, and make sure you subscribe to have a look at my next videos. Thank you very much for watching.